Well, with just 2 weeks to go until the May 29 elections, the Electoral Commission of South Africa today updates on its state of readiness for the special international votes, and these are scheduled for the 17th and the 18th of this month. The Commission is expected to highlight the preparations for out-of-country voting, which is scheduled to take place at 111 foreign missions on Friday and Saturday. Earlier this year, the Electoral Court ordered the IEC to have more voting stations for citizens living abroad. Over 78,000 overseas voters are set to participate in the elections. And I'll take you live now to Election House in Centurion, and that's where our reporter Juniour Khumalo is standing by. Juniour, good morning. It will be interesting to hear how quickly they've been able to scramble into action to make these extra voting stations available to out-of-country voters. Tell us more.
A good morning to you, Iman, and to our viewers. We do know that that ruling was handed down by the Electoral Court, but the IEC has since approached the Supreme Court of Appeal, actually, to appeal that ruling, because they say that that was the duty of the Department of International Relations to actually make available those additional commissions for South Africans abroad to actually vote at. So that case is also still outstanding. So those are some of the issues that the IEC will have to speak about today when it talks about its readiness. Besides that case, we still know that there's also the former President Jacob Zuma's eligibility case that is still also outstanding at the Apex Court of South Africa. That case was heard on Friday, but the judgment is expected to come back anytime this week before the elections themselves. So as the IEC speaks about its state of readiness to host those elections that are happening abroad, those are the outstanding court cases that they still need to speak about, but also just to speak about how, as you've already said, there are about 78,000 South Africans living abroad that need to cast their votes over a 2-day period. How that is going to be undertaken by the IEC itself, we are expecting the IEC to speak to us in just over an hour's time, just to address some of those issues, Iman.
All right, so, I mean, it's a busy operational time for the IEC, and at the same time, they're dealing with other, court challenges, big ones, that have, taken some of their attention, accounts and answers that they have to give to the Constitutional Court, and so on. So I guess as well, Juniour, this is going to come up in this conference today, just to gauge how they're planning on managing all of these multiple challenges at the same time.
Indeed. Just looking at the court cases themselves, ranging from those that have been heard by the High Court, the Electoral Court, and the Constitutional Court, there have been over 10 court cases that the IEC has actually had to deal with before these crucial elections. So some of them are still outstanding. As we mentioned, the candidacy of former President Jacob Zuma, that case is still outstanding because the judgment on that case was actually reserved and is expected to come back before the elections. But also, this has basically, some argue that it has tainted the image of the IEC, as some court cases, like the court case that happened on Wednesday last week, where 3 parties were trying to re-register with the IEC because they were saying it was the IEC's online processes that prevented them from registering. They argued that the IEC went to court and basically denied them that access to re-register, and they were saying the IEC can't be a referee when it comes to the elections and also be a player in this game of also the elections as well. So those were some of the arguments that were made. So the IEC would have to defend itself or basically speak to those accusations. We know also leading up to these elections, there were also allegations that the IEC leaked some of those lists. So the image of the IEC is also in question as we head into these elections, Iman.
And certainly, having this sort of reputational aspersions cast on the IEC, or even the IEC's credibility come into question, is something, the country cannot, that is untenable in the current context, given these are one of, among the most anticipated elections since South Africa's democracy. So they've got a lot of work to do as well to ensure that public trust in the institution remains high, don't they, Juniour?
Indeed, Iman. But in the over 6 national and provincial elections that the IEC has hosted, there has been no challenge on the outcomes of those elections that has basically succeeded. So the credibility of the IEC still remains. But going into this much crucial election that we are expecting to be hotly contested, the image of the IEC does have to basically be proven to be that of an unbiased institution, given the gravitas of these elections. So those are some of the things that they have to speak to. We know that there's a former employee of the ANC actually that has written to the Electoral Court, who is basically suggesting that the chairperson of the IEC and some top officials of the ANC leading up to the 2019 elections conspired basically to sabotage the creation of the ATM as a political party. We are also expecting the IEC to basically respond to those allegations, because that's a serious allegation, especially to the chairperson of the IEC. So those are some of the issues that the IEC has to speak about today when it talks about the readiness to hold the elections, Iman.
All right, and we'll be back with Juniour Khumalo and our team a little bit later on in the program.